Hey everybody. Today is August 15th, 2026, and you're listening to the While We Still Can podcast. I'm Lisa. I have Tina and Tony here today, and we're back in your ears to talk about all the stuff that's going down. And this week's been a lot. I think we're all like viscerally upset, especially those of us that have served in the military, which I'm not, by the way, I just make that clear. But if you ever served and with what's going on in the USS Abraham Lincoln right now, you're incensed. Tony, you've been there literally on the USS Abraham Lincoln. Tell us what's going on.
It's interesting because now actually there's more ships reporting stories I found within the last 24 hours because of the
Like,
visibility. This is getting saying the same things. There was
oh,
one ship,
so, okay. Well,
yeah,
that's
where there
discouraging.
there, there are multiple reports of similar situations on other ships that are deployed right now, as well as circumstances uh, where there was one particular ship, was it the Bedford or something, went for 4 days without power. They
Oh my
drifted
God.
at sea for 4 days without power. Now, as far as Abraham Lincoln's concerned, but let's be very clear. They've been at sea since December 12th. What were you all doing on December 12th last year? Well, whatever it was, imagine doing the same thing until this moment right now and not having any end in sight as to any relief in terms of being able to see land, being able to see your friends and family. Um, their communication, a lot of people don't realize when you're at sea, even with our modern technology, they have extreme limited communication while they're at sea for national security reasons, of course. So, although they might have devices, they cannot use those devices, and those devices do not have the capability to actually send anything and receive anything. So when you're at sea, you're completely isolated from the world, and
So, how's
that
it working that people are getting texts in and out to their families? Like, what are the circumstances they can send?
I think there's moments that the ship allows some communication. It's been I was on that particular ship in 1992, so none of this technology was available then. So I can't
Right.
speak to how it works now and how they
Mm-hmm.
handle the restrictions and people having phones, because it's obvious people do. But so, however, the information is being shared, whether it be through letters, but even their, packages, even the mail has been delayed for weeks, if not months. I've read stories about packages having been sent, and you know, they're not getting them for 4, 6, 8 weeks. A lot of time these care packages actually contain food, homemade food, different stuff,
Yeah.
cigarettes, things that people want from home, obviously letters and stuff like that. So, you're at sea, and I had explained this online, and, that's what I want people to understand is it's not just you're floating on the water doing a whole lot of nothing. No, when the literally moment you go to sea, you're literally working essentially 24/7 with no rest. And there's constant drills, man overboard drills, general quarters drills, fire drills that every single sailor has to be involved in. When a drill happens on a ship, you can't just ignore it. You have to actually participate in it. And
Yeah.
and those happen at literally any given moment for various reasons. It could happen at 2 a.m. It could happen at 3 p.m. And some of those drills, like the general quarters drills, last for 4 hours. General quarters is when the ship is being attacked. You do constant drills being prepared for that. Everyone has their station that when a general quarters drill happen, you have to actually go immediately to your station and be in communication. My station was called a shaft alley, which I had to go, yeah, believe it or not, I had to go and I would lift up this hatch and I would have to crawl down a three-story flight of a ladder down to this space that was like the size of a small gymnasium, and it had a giant shaft. So I was literally at the bottom of the ship, and it had a giant shaft of the one of the propellers going, the propeller shafts going through it, and those are about, I'd say, at least 3 to 4, maybe 5 feet in diameter, and they're spinning down there. It's just completely open. And then, where I was then I think that's where it exited to the sea. So, if there was an explosion or anything like that, immediately I would not survive being in that
Yeah, you're
situation.
going to the propeller and out for fish food.
Exactly. So, but everybody has a station. So, and that happened. That is a 4 hour drill. So you're sitting there, for 4 hours. But when you actually have live attacks, that's what that's for. So, one of the things that I speculate, and I'm going to talk about it right now, is there a reason? There's a reason they're keeping them isolated. Something's going on. Something happened back in when it was in the Gulf,
Which
and
you
this war
called
started.
that a long ass time ago. Rewind.
Yep. And even Iran said they hit the ship. But of course, our news and our military and our government says otherwise. But we also know that they've been lying through their asses through this entire thing. And I think the ship, personally, I think the ship likely got damaged. They kept it at sea to keep it isolated so no one can see that and no one can communicate that. I'm sure the sailors, I mean, you are basically sworn with to secrecy. I mean, they will tell you this you cannot share certain information about operations of the ship with anybody, and if you do, you will be court-martialed and go to jail. I have zero doubts that's what's happening on all of these ships, but sailors are still going to be human. They're going to tell families about conditions, and that's why we're finally getting information about what's going on. But this is completely unacceptable. It's not partisan issue. This is a soldier human issue. These are our children and our fathers and our family members that are being treated poorly by this administration that just doubled our military budget. So a $1.5 trillion budget, and we can't
And
feed
they
our
can't even flush a fucking toilet. Or they don't have power for 4 days. Like, how would that impact your ability to fight off an attacker? Like, that seems very not okay. Were they conserving energy? Is that
with the sailors being reported to have jumped overboard.
right?
Psychosis as well. I mean, that's a real thing. If you're at sea
Oh,
for this period of time, there's no doubt whatsoever there's going to be people that are really losing their
Well, and
minds.
with no end in sight. It's
Yes.
one thing if a lot of people can hang in there if they have an end date for whatever it is. But when you have no end date, my God, that's
And I've had a lot
torturous.
of trolls, obviously MAGA trolls, come into my comments about the things I posted talking about reality here because I've been there.
rude
And
of you, Tony.
I know. And they come at me and they're like, well, that's not so bad because during World War II, blah, blah, blah. No, we are the most powerful nation in the world. There's no excuse for any of this to happen. And don't tell me shit because you've never experienced any of that stuff whatsoever. And none of us have experienced the amount of time at sea that these sailors have experienced. Period. So no one know anything about shit about what's going on that ship or other ships right now. And to excuse the behavior of this administration and the leaders that are laughing this off literally and saying,
Laughing.
oh,
He's
I mean,
I don't
Trump
care.
said yesterday, oh, they should be out longer.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
he's a dipshit. Everybody
yeah.
knows that.
Bone
And
spurs, okay.
that's just like, that's the comment that he's going to make because it's the opposite and it's hyperbolic. And of course, he's
Yeah.
going to say that.
Well,
He's
and
an
that's what
idiot.
his legion, his
Yeah.
lieges will just accept it and actually
Yeah.
tout that statement. I mean, but in all reality, all Americans, all patriotic,
Mm-hmm.
uh, all people who care, anybody that
Right.
has a soul,
Real Americans.
real
Real
Americans sit here
Americans.
and say enough is a fucking enough. If our military
Right.
can't be taken care of in a war that is basically a
Made up.
distraction from the crimes that
As
this
child
administration.
pedophilia.
I mean, pedophilia and eating babies and all this other stuff. Get the fuck out of my country. I'm ready for MAGA to move to Argentina,
Yeah.
South America, wherever they want to fucking go. Just get the fuck
They'd
out.
probably be happier there.
Yes, just go.
Should go.
Get the hell out. It's not your country.
Well, Didn't the
Malay, yeah.
Malay didn't he just make a nice big plot of land
For
for is
Israel.
like a baby Israel to come
Yep,
on
a
over?
baby Israel. And then, and they also, we gave Malay $20 billion.
Now, tell our
Oh,
listeners who Malay is.
He
They're
is the
not listening.
president of Argentina, the very, very, very crazy right wing president of Argentina. Even Brazil still has its issues. I mean,
Well, and Argentina was a everybody that fled, not everybody,
rat
lots of folks
lines.
that fled Germany after World War II went to Argentina. So I'm sure there's a whole community of people with that deep
If they,
ancestral
well, yeah,
if they
beliefs.
weren't invited to our CIA and shit, if they weren't
Yeah,
invited, they went to
right.
Argentina.
They didn't. They weren't making
and,
bombs. And
well, so you've got Argentina, you've got Brazil. I mean, I don't, I'm generally aware of that movie, The Boys from Brazil, right? But it had to do with a lot of this type of stuff, from what I understand too. And you've got, and Brazil itself is still, even though, they defeated Bolsonaro and his coup and all of that, and they've done a lot of the right things, Brazil still is very much
Corruption.
corrupt. Even Amanda tells me she's actually, this is, no, she isn't necessarily planning on staying in Brazil either because of the country's corruption. Uh, and
Safe. If
Yeah,
nobody, if some people aren't safe, nobody's safe. They're coming for you. Like,
exactly. So, so, so what's going on with the Lincoln is just unfathomable. What's happening in our military is unfathomable, and for anybody to disparage our sailors and what they're going through, get the fuck out of my country. I'm tired of your stupid fucking
well,
ass.
my question is, what do you actually fucking support?
Yeah,
Because when it comes down to it, if your dear leader is like, "Oh no, it's not a big deal. I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned," then all of a sudden you're not. And but you were previously if the previous anybody had done this or said anything. So they don't stand for anything at all.
So yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that what people don't realize is the coup has already happened. The coup was successful. We have been defeated as a nation by criminals. I posted something 2 days ago that resonated online as well, where I was discussing after the fall of the Soviet Union, uh, the criminals actually took control of both they were the mafia, took control of the government and industry um, after the fall of the Soviet Union, which they now have been a mafia state since,
Mm-hmm.
and the United States, those same criminals and have taken control of our government and industry now, and they're creating the fall of the United States. I mean, they're literally taking every single good thing for our country and tearing it apart, whether it be bulldozers on national parks right now so companies can drill, whether it be regulations covering our food safety, whether it be our
Oh,
education.
lettuce. God
Yeah,
damn it.
I mean, there's not anything that you can point at that this administration is not tearing apart, because that is what their goal is the destruction of our nation after, because they've gained control of it, and there's no one to stop them right now. Absolutely no one to stop them except us.
And if anybody has read history again, this is how it always goes. This is how it goes, and the denial of people watching and again, if they read, they would know about the 250-year cycle of fucking civilizations, and it's all written, available for us. But again, they're trying to burn the books too. So
This week, JD Vance was talking about, the dollar being like reserve. Maybe it's not so great that it's reserve currency. I feel like they're trying to lube the truth, so to speak. So when this happens and all these antics finally result in the devaluation of the US dollar, like, yeah, it's a good thing. Come on, man.
And
yeah, he was at the American, what was it, American Moment conference or something. And yeah, he is literally on tape saying he wants
Hmm.
to end the US dollar's position as global reserve currency. And the reason he wants to do that quote unquote, because it allows Americans to consume too much and do
Yeah.
so too cheaply.
He suggests
Say that
that-
to my fucking $20 fucking
Right.
DoorDash burrito. Fuck.
He suggests that the global reliance on the dollar mirrors a natural resource trap, flooding the nation with cheap imports while hollowing out the industrial base. I don't know that that's the case.
Well,
You're gonna lose your seat if you take Temu and Shein out of the picture, okay? I'm just saying, people, they like it.
I read something, and I'm definitely not even close to understanding how the markets and all this work, but I don't know. I read something recently that talked about how the stock market now will never go down, and it has to do with printing money, and it has to do with we've surpassed kind of a point of no return in terms of what reality is versus what it's not. And the thing,
Right.
when it comes to the stock market, that is the one stranglehold that Trump has on a lot of Americans that don't support him. Is the stock market, as long as the stock market's successful and continues to be successful, they're going to talk. Their 401ks look really good on paper, but the one thing people need to realize is what we're talking about here. When they turn around and they decide to devalue the dollar, when they turn around and they start doing other things that affect that, well, they're just like, aren't they talking about taking people's 401ks and putting into like a crypto reserve or something?
Yep.
Not
Yes,
even
they
giving
are.
people the opportunity to have even a say in it. So here we are, where the stock market's never going to go down because systematically, and I think it also has to do with the national debt, where we've surpassed, the 40 trillion mark now, a third of that from Trump alone, and
He's
and then,
economy though. Fuck.
yeah, well, and that's the thing is so we've, and you look at all these companies that do the stock buybacks, it's all just a pump up situation, and they say as long as
Fluff.
America can still print money, the stock market will never go down now, basically, and eventually things are going to crash. Everything that's being held up is like beyond a giant bubble at this point, as far as I'm concerned, and it'll be beyond anybody's understanding when that bubble bursts. Everybody will lose everything. And the people that feel most comfortable with their 401ks and everything else are going to have another thing coming when this all just kind of falls apart, which they want it to fall apart, because when you look at a lot of stuff,
Enter in strongman.
yeah, their long-term goal is letting everything fall apart. So we truly are dependent on selling our literal data souls to them so that they can control us and they can rule over these cities that they want to create.
I wanted to this was not on my list, but I do want to bring it up as far as like the flock cameras, that they are not listening to people at all about these. No one wants this. They're still trafficking and crimes are still happening, and they're still not catching the people, but they're sure catching the dude who drove across to Wisconsin to get himself some weed and drove back to Michigan, or the woman who got some health care and left the state. They can still sure as hell find them.
Apparently, it's very popular to stalk their exes too.
Yeah.
What?
Well, and the other thing with that is you combine this giant push for data centers where they're like just going to happen. I kind of always go back to that moment where they're confirming Brett Kavanaugh. After 4,500 FBI tips were diverted and sent to the White House and then just completely disappeared, and none of the victims were ever interviewed. Mitch McConnell is out there telling the GOP just
He ain't out there no more.
plow through the nomination, plow through it, okay? And that's what they're doing right now with data centers and flock cameras. They're just plowing through and telling us to deal with it and accept it. So there's a much larger picture to this that people don't realize when it comes to why they're so intent on creating this world of surveillance.
Surveillance.
Yes.
Well, I encourage people to look at how Palestine looked prior to Palantir going in and installing all the same things they're installing here before they did their genocide. So, it looks the same. It looks the same. So, and then you look at the flock camera chart on, because it'll pop. There's lots of ways that people can see where the flock cameras are in their cities now. But in New York, there's a certain little couple block radius that don't have no fucking flock cameras. Um, and what part of town is that?
Is it the the Jewish Zionist part of town?
Yeah,
Maybe?
I think it might be. And again, I am not, this is nothing anti Semitic. This is extremism problems. Zionists are not your regular, yeah, like I'm not talking shit on Jewish people at all.
Nope.
This is Zionism. This is equal in my mind to white Christian nationalism. So, and again, I'm not talking about Christians when I'm talking about that. I'm talking about white Christian nationalists. So it is different, and that I just want to point that out. But they're not surveilling themselves.
Well,
Is what I'm saying.
let me say something about that. Is the Zionists who control Israel right now, Bibi Netanyahu and his ilk of people, like Trump has his cult following, have absconded the Jewish faith, so to say. They've
Absolutely.
absconded the state of Israel in a way that they've infiltrated it because they weren't really Jews. They
Yeah,
created,
we're finding that out, aren't we?
created themselves as a Jewish state. And if you look at the history of Israel and how this all works and how it's happened, the biggest influence that's happened over the last 40 years has been from Russian Jews immigrating to Israel, and they are people who their faith has allowed them to claim the Jewish
Safety net.
safety net, the Jewish story, so to say.
Yeah.
They can play the victim of the as if
While
they
victimizing everyone else.
while they're victimizing everyone else and claiming they're the victim in all of it. When in fact, the people running it all have never been the victims. They've actually probably been the ones supporting the Nazis, been supporting these various regimes in the past. And we're
I
seeing.
kind of feel like they're the same people. I kind of feel like they're the same people.
Well, you're
They
right.
just added some curls.
Yep. Yep. So
Okay.
again, this is not anti-Semitic. It has nothing to do with the good, outstanding, upstanding Jewish citizens in our nation and worldwide. This has to do with the Zionists who have absconded the state of Israel for themselves and are we'll just say it, the white Jews, the whites who pretend to be Jews to take control of the world.
So annoying. It's so annoying. And if that is your true, if you are a Jewish person,
yes, that is your faith. That's what you.
And you should be fucking mad. Just like I'm fucking, like I'm not, you know how I feel about religion, but like I am not mad at Christianity in general. Like, you do you, boo. Don't tell me what to do. But and Christians that are supporting what's happening right now because of their Christianity, aren't you mad that they hijacked your faith?
Well, and not only hijacked it, they went.
Yeah, yes. And created the fear behind it so that they can do whatever plans they have because everyone's scared.
Well,
while being utter and complete hypocrites.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
what they and that's across the board to these extremists of all kinds. While they're weaponizing the religion, they're doing whatever they want with no respect to the practices or the true principles.
Well, and I mean, the simplest thing to look at, no matter, if any of these people could possibly just set their hate, bigotry, biases aside and just look at the reality of what's happening in New York City right now. We have a Muslim running the city like Jesus would. Yeah. I mean, that's the best way to say it is, he's doing the work that Jesus would do when all the people that claim to be followers of Jesus do the exact opposite. It's that simple.
Ugh, it is. It's breaking their brains, and they don't
Yes.
like it. It's gonna make them more mad than it's gonna help anything. I feel
Well,
like, except unless you're living in New York, you know.
I mean, it's the same, and I quite, it's the most extreme that everybody wants to put uh, everybody into that same bucket, okay, of any
Right.
given situation. It's the same thing as when you went gay pride, okay, in San Francisco. I've been to gay pride in San Francisco. I used to live in San Francisco, the Bay Area, and you know, every year on the front page of the newspapers and on all the TV screens is the most outrageous gay person in the most
Right.
outrageous outfit, and because they're the most extreme, and that is the bucket they want every gay to be in.
Everyone to go into.
Yep.
They can use it to demonize, and
Yep.
it's like, bro, you didn't even know I was gay.
Yep.
You got a shitty gaydar. Shitty.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what's funny is, again, we have the closetocracy going on, and Josh Hawley, our bestie Josh, out there kissing, allegedly,
Well,
according to Carlos. You should have paid him
Well-
more than $100, Josh.
Well, and then look at Max Miller's son-in-law. Is it?
It's
The guy who just
Bernie
won the-
Moreno. Bernie Moreno's
Bernie
son-in-law
Moreno.
is Max Miller.
Max
Max
Miller. Yeah, Bernie Moreno's son-in-law is Max Miller. But then I'm sorry, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about that other one. The guy Sean Duffy's son-in-law, who just won
What
the
Josh?
Republican nomination in Wisconsin, and he is the gayest motherfucker in the world. And the only reason everyone knows he's closeted is because no gay man would do his eyebrows like that, and so he obviously doesn't have any actual gay friends. But he's so far in the closet, it's so obvious when you look at him.
So his eyebrows are the tell.
His eyebrows are the tell, but they're
Gotta
horrendous
Google now.
bad.
Yeah, I'll have to check those out.
Yeah.
Fucking eyebrows. Giving you away. Hey, you know what? I did learn that in college, that eyebrows make or break a face. So I do know that. Well, it's kind of like Epstein winning the lottery. It's like, oh, this is very convenient. We never knew these people until your shitty parents were in charge or something, fucking it up. And then we're like, oh, ultimate DEI, put my son in.
Well, no, and the closetocracy is absolutely right. I mean, Lindsey Graham obviously was the queen of the ball back in the day, and this takes me to a completely different subject, because I recently talked about Lindsey having dated Laura Ingraham back in the '90s, which was who was the beard.
He was the top. She
Yeah.
was the top, Tony.
Well, and the thing is just I just recently found out, 3, 4, 5 days ago, the Kennedy board voted to inscribe Donald Trump's name on the marble of the building as a way to get around having to take his name off of the building. So they're now going to inscribe it in the stone as voted by the Trump-appointed
Kennedy Center board.
Well,
That's so pitiful.
but
It's
just
so embarrassing.
Why are these people?
But
Why
hold
do
on.
they let these things happen?
2 days
Have
before
they no
the-
pride
No.
at all?
2 days before that was announced, our friend Paula Zampoli posted a picture of him with his fellow board member Laura Ingraham, talking about the good things they're doing at the Kennedy Center. And I posted about this yesterday or the day before, and I'm like, why is it fucking Paulo shows up in every single fucking crazy story? Whether
Because if no one will do it, Paula will.
the Tate brothers, and there's much more to that story. I'll tell you that when it comes to what Paul has been doing with the Tate brothers. You've got the UFC, or he was at the UFC, but the World Cup. I mean, he's good friends with Infantino, who's at the height of a scandal having to do with the World Cup. Practically any scandal out there, Paulo happens to be in the middle of it. And
He's got a picture with his thumbs up.
Yeah, he had a picture with Eddie Rami, right around the time that the Albania stuff blew up. And Rami is the prime minister of Albania, who was giving bribes to my good friend Alison McGonigal's former lover, Charles. Uh,
Ew,
yeah,
God, these people are so
Allison
gross.
Guerrero's former lover Charles. I mean, it's all so incestuous and
How
It
do
gross.
really
they have
is.
time to be like banging each other in between all of this like corruption and money laundering and stealing and like fucking shit up? How do they have time?
Well,
I don't get it.
in one interview, Allison only, it's funny because Evie Cocolari, I think, is the one that publicly stated that Allison Guerrero won't do any interviews in the United States because they won't pay her. So she only does interviews for Albanian news sources, which I've researched and found most of them. And it's so funny because she's so fucking inconsistent on her interviews. It depends on who she's talking to. But in one of the stories, she actually says the day she met Charles McGonigal, they were set up on a lunch date, and Charles McGonigal was telling her how his wife wouldn't put out for him anymore. So Allison promptly went and banged him in an FBI SUV.
Oh
Okay,
my.
so but another,
Scandalous.
but in a completely different story, Allison says, "Well, if I knew he was married, I would have never been with him." But then in another story, she says, "Well, I knew he was taking bribes from Russia, but then when she whistleblow on him, she never told anybody about the Russian bribes. She just talked about Albanian bribes." So, I mean, that in itself gives you an idea of what this woman is and the
Well,
craziness.
she seems like she's muddying the data here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you could, which is a fucking Russian tactic, anyways, which is probably why Kash is going on over to Russia right before the election.
Yeah, I mean, we aren't living in a world of reality right now because everybody's assuming that everything's just okay. No, we've been
Things are
kept.
far
Okay,
from
no,
okay.
can okay, I want to have like a legitimate conversation about this Kash Patel going to Russia. I don't think we've talked about this yet.
No, no.
Can
Tell
it
us
can
what you know.
okay? Well, he's going to Russia to meet with the Duma or what the whole fucking
Which is
what do they
their
call
that's
them? The
their
FSB,
Congress, right?
And
yeah, yeah, to meet.
let me tell
Sorry, go
you,
ahead.
let me tell you who is part of the Duma that I know of. Maria Butina
Maria
was
Butina,
is part of the Duma. She's the former
right?
uh, Russian spy who's convicted in the United States, who infiltrated.
She's not falling out of a window, so
Okay.
she's still.
Yeah,
Right.
and uh, Maria Katasanova, who was heavily involved in the French elections and friends with Marine Le Pen. She's very much more high profile than the ones involved in our election influence. But Maria Katasanova is also very close friends with my good buddy Artem Klushin and Konstantin Rykov. I mean, I've proven going back to 2010 their communication amongst all of them. Maria Butina, Maria Katasanova, Artem Klushin, Konstantin Rykov, all of them going back to 2010 involved in election interference. And
But no Russia collusion.
our U.S. media refuses to look at any of this. And that's where I beg to question. That's why I'm getting real pissed off right now, because I know there were stories written. I know people are looking at my information. Katie Fang herself told me that the Midas Group was well aware of my writing, okay, and stuff I've done. But why isn't anybody sharing it? Why are they afraid to share the story? Okay, Jackie Singh, because I'm naming names, Jackie Singh wrote an article about my engagement.
Can you tell listeners who Jackie Singh is?
She was, my impression is she likely was a CIA asset in the past, but she was hired by the Biden campaign to be a tech security in 2020. I don't think it was 2020. It was when he won in 2020. She actually worked for the Biden campaign as tech security, but she also writes for the Byline Times, and she's an independent journalist now. And she's done a lot of good stuff, exposing stuff. She literally has a story written about my engagement with Allison Guerrero, and it also has to do with the pardon of Mike Rossini, or no, Mike McMahon and Mark Rossini. Mark Rossini is the guy that Charles McGonigal had a 25% share with. in a business in Albania called Justice Security or something like that. It was something kind of like Orbis or Fusion GPS, where they could investigate. And so again, it's all very incestuous. And so they have the story written, and her editors won't let her post it. I'm just because they're
Which happened with the Daily Beast. Was it the Daily Beast?
yes, and I'll say now the Daily Beast did that to me too. When I got my letter from since we don't get a whole lot of thousands and thousands of listeners on most of our things, let's start some shit up here. Is the Daily Beast? Tom Latcham wrote a story. He's one of the top journalists at the Daily Beast. He broke tons of stories. He wrote a story, and I've been in communication with him even recently about when the president actually sent me the demand letter, and the day that it was going to be released was actually also the same day that Becca Day's TikTok account got banned because of all of the employees' influence, and the same day that Becca actually shared her Substack where she talks about Paula Zampoli and a lot of stuff going on. Okay, and that same day, the Daily Beast lawyers and editors literally pulled the story last minute because they're afraid of litigation from the president. Okay,
so they're just gonna let you fly in the wind, like,
yeah.
and then fuck it. And then once they deleted Becca's TikTok, I just remember, didn't Paulo post something about getting that done?
Doing it, yes, he literally, and he still has it on his social media accounts about having done that. And this goes back to, we talked about in the future with our new awesome platform that we're creating about being able to share certain things and I lost my train of thought, but we were talking about.
Well, if private citizens are going to have more guts than the media, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Where are
well,
they?
We don't have a valid media anymore that's actually concerned about doing right and communicating truth. It's just where we are in this.
Well, they successfully instilled the fear enough that people will not speak up, and we know that democracy dies in the darkness. We know this, and we're refusing to let it go dark.
Mm-mm. And I continue to ask people to help me be loud, because that's all we can do. And I will continue to be loud. I have, yes, there's risks associated. But where are we going to be?
They're happening anyways.
Where are we going to be if we don't do this right now? Where are we going to be if we don't stand? Where are we going to be if we don't speak up? And, I'm holding on to a ton of information. A lot of people ask, why don't you share it if it's, a lot of it's not going to take anything down. It's just going to create unnecessary noise. That's why I don't share.
That's the thing, is that I think some of the things we talk about, like, as important as it is in the big picture, I'm sure a lot of people are like, so who cares? What difference does that make to, like, how much eggs cost at the grocery store, or,
Well, they really cared before the election.
I have even some stories that you guys don't know that will be shocking and appalling and incredible and sensational, and you'll be like, holy cow. But it's just not necessary. I mean, I could tell you right now, and it likely would even get some traction, but it's just not necessary. It would cause unnecessary noise in the middle of all this.
Well, it's a bread and circus. Look over here, while we're literally taking the whole U.S. Treasury and wiping our fucking ass with it.
Mm-hmm.
After JD said you don't need it.
Yep.
Because you buy too much from Shein and Temu. Well, we're only buying assassins from Temu.
Well, and we collectively, the three of us, for now a year last week, right? Or a year this week.
It was our anniversary.
Yes, it's our anniversary week. Thank you and congratulations, and I love you.
Yeah, congrats. Yes.
We've been through good times and we've been through bad times.
Yes, we
we've had some fun times the whole year. And look what we've been able to accomplish in a year. I mean, if we go back to that very first time we talked, and who reached out? Was it Tina? You reached out to me first, or was it Lisa?
Yes, yeah. I found you on Twitter.
And and we were able to accomplish what we've accomplished. To me, that's spectacular. It shows the power of the people. You know,
Yeah,
we may have
absolutely.
this little pod right now, but we have made some noise in the world for sure. You know,
Yes.
you are
And that's literally what we stated we wanted to do when we
yeah,
made that goal. We're like, okay, we see these problems, we see people aren't tackling them, and this is what we're going to do it. And again, we don't know what we're doing, but we're
but
doing it.
you know, the thing is we're focused, we're
We
relevant,
care.
and we care. And other podcasts that I've been on aren't that. You know, I'll use that Opperman as a good example. You know, it's just noise in in the space as far as I'm concerned. Ed's an
Right.
NPC. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, I mean, and I even Aaron Parnas, you know, he's doing some great stuff right now. I don't want to disparage him, but I just have a lot of questions about his dad. I have a lot of questions about why he literally won't talk to me. Again, that's my ego, I guess. But I mean, come on, you know,
What's your
I'm literally
angle?
with his
Why
tail
aren't
around
we
my
all
blanket.
working together?
Yes, exactly. And I'm just tired of hoping somebody else with a voice will actually speak up. So we just have to make ours louder and louder.
And I've always gotten letters home from school about that.
That's
So
true
I
too.
have no
Well, and,
trouble.
I think it's interesting how, and I know I'm not intending this toward anybody specific, but it's always interesting to me how on any platform, if overnight you have somebody that all of a sudden they have a humongous following, that doesn't happen organically. It can take weeks, months, years to really develop a following. And
Or a
so
lot
I'm
of
always a
these
little
frat,
skeptical.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
and
there's a lot of frat bros on there that I'm like, where did you come? How do you have any authority to be talking about whatever you want? And that's what actually sparked me to be like, I
Hmm.
know more than they do. I know I do. And I'm funnier. So, like, let's do this.
no, I still talk to our buddy Dave, you know, from
Oh, Dave. Dave.
and you know, and he really wants to do the right stuff. And we talked on the phone. We send each other messages regularly. And recently, he's been really, really kind of captivated by Candace Owens and the good stuff she's doing. And he's really kind of talked to me, tried to encourage me to try to find some connection with Candace Owens. And I'm fine with that. And I've explained to him, I said, I have no problem if she wants, if I can find a way to connect to it and she finds value to speak with me and share information, that's great. But I do have some questions for her. You know, even if you go to her Twitter
Yes.
right now, I mean, she's a supporter of Russia, she's a supporter of Tucker and that new cabal
Oh,
of,
yeah, he's having a whole new
yeah,
uh,
Rebrand.
rebrand as well. Yeah,
exactly. And, you know, it's very Russia biased in terms of,
Themed.
yeah, theme.
Themed.
Yes. And, you know, and Candace is part of that. I have questions about, you know, her genesis through Explore Talent, which is a Mossad operation that produced her, Scott Presley, Lauren Bober, and a number of other high profile people, including having catfished H.R. McMaster with the
Yep.
help of Eric Prince. I mean, these are all things that are factual that I've shared that are out there, and I'm not the only one that have shared it. So, you know, Candace has a lot to explain and to do, along with Marjorie Taylor Greene. You know, that's all fine and dandy, but the reality is you still did a whole lot of horrible things that led us to where we're at right now, and you were front
absolutely,
of doing so. So, you know, I'll forgive in time, possibly, but I sure as fuck will never forget.
absolutely not.
Yeah. You're. And the fact that you glossed over it like it didn't ever happen.
Like it was
No,
no big
I do
deal.
not.
Yeah,
I
So yeah,
remember.
Candace, you know, I appreciate the things she's doing, but you know, wolves in sheep clothing are everywhere, everywhere.
But we don't make any
not here
money,
on the
so that
While We
ain't
Still Can
us.
pod.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, Lisa, okay, I think this would be a good time to kind of talk about our
Yeah,
like what we're kind of creating, and then wrap it up for
absolutely
today, and then we'll have more information on what
right.
we're creating going forward. But
So, in the spirit of getting people together, creating a community, facilitating communication, and in that vein, like being more effective, we are creating an online community, the three of us, and we're inviting everybody that's listening to come and participate and be part of it. So it's going to be on the Circle app or circle platform, and it's called the While We Still Can Pod Community. And you'll be hearing more about it soon. Right now, it's like we have to, you can take an invitation that's perhaps emailed to you, or sometimes we can get it to you online. If you're interested, just contact us and we can make sure you get a direct invitation. But we'll be putting a lot of the content we make online there, sharing it other places as well too, of course. But we're also looking forward to having more like chats there, lives, perhaps some educational classes where we can teach people how we do what we do. Like, for instance, Tony's really good at tracking things down online, and maybe he can show us how to more efficiently do the things he does. So we're really excited about some of the value that can bring to you and getting it off the ground. So keep an eye out. We'll be telling you more about like a grand opening, if you will, a launch. But we're really excited about it, looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And I encourage everybody, if you have the opportunity, join as soon as you can, because it's going to be a fun shit show to begin with, because we're just kind of figuring it out.
Much like this pod, we don't know what we're doing. So, but I will tell you this, we're poor capitalists. We're not very good capitalists, but there are going to be some opportunities where we're going to be trying to give you some extra value in exchange for, gathering a few bucks here and there. And what that's going to be for is things like, this platform's probably like over $1,200 a year to use. All the website fees, the Riverside, it all adds up after a while. And so I'm going to be making some swag you all can purchase if you want to. We're going to have different tiers so that if you want to be a member with an elevated tier, you get extra value for that. So we definitely don't want you to, first of all, spend money that's not disposable right now because times are tight. But two, we want to make sure that if you're going to contribute financially to this effort, you get value for it. So yeah, keep an eye out. We're excited.
Swag wise, I would encourage you, get a hat. I love the hat because it's got the Statue of Liberty on it.
I don't even have a hat.
And well, when you go to our house,
we gotta change that. You want a black or white hat?
And get a hat because black. It's fun to wear, and people pay attention. I've had people ask me what the hat's about. And
so anybody that's listening that wants a hat, you can go to the whilewestillcanpod.com, and there's a bunch of swag there that's already available.
Yeah, and keep in mind, our goal from the beginning has always been to present digestible, verifiable truth to everybody in a way that kind of crosses all platforms in ways that people are able to ingest and digest information and process
and share and educate others.
And we're hoping
people don't know. They just don't know.
They don't.
And we can't, the problem, too many people assume, and we see this all the time because we have our own communities online. I have a 47,000 following, and, and I have, my ardent followers who are always commenting and sharing my stuff, which I love and I appreciate them. But we all kind of fall into this trap of assuming everybody knows what we know.
Right. I do that across the board. I have a bad habit about that.
And, and this is where hopefully we can create a platform, a network, a resource that allows people to learn things that we know that they actually don't. And also teach us, and also share things with us that we don't know.
Absolutely.
And help us.
Most importantly, what can we do about it?
Yes.
As this is all happening around us, how can we most efficiently change things?
And timing is
we have. Yes, and we're on a time limit, even though my meditation told me time isn't real. We gotta hurry up.
Yeah, with the election coming up, we're under the gun.
Yes. Well, and now that our ICE officers are going to have electric fingers, we could share ideas. Like, I hear that salt water, does certain things to electricity. Just like little tidbits.
For people that haven't heard what Tina's talking about, they're spending hundreds and thousands of dollars to outfit the ICE agents with these special gloves that are able to deliver electric shocks.
Like a hand taser, like a finger taser.
Yeah. It's horrible.
And, things that you can consider in terms of just making a difference we can share as well, in terms of protecting yourself, in terms of being visible, different things like that. Like, I actually have cameras all around my house pointed out the windows, and they're very visible for anybody to see. Not all of them work properly, but
Right.
nobody that sees the cameras know that.
Right,
And,
right, right.
there's a lot of things you can do to protect yourself. There's a lot of things that you can do to be visible, and there's a lot of things you can do to show people, what's happening in this world are not okay. And whether it be data centers, whether it be flock cameras, whether it be ICE officers.
Epstein files going on, no justice, like, yeah.
I mean, did you guys see, I just found an Epstein file today. I did a search
Yes,
on
I did.
Gmail, which was John Doe. I actually did a search on John Doe because I'm like, let me see just what comes up. And I actually found flight confirmations from Epstein's pilots starting in 2018, going all the way to 2023. And some of the people that are prominent in these conversations are named, the email names are Jane Smith and John Doe.
2023,
Yeah,
y'all.
why is his flight of pilots still flying the plane? And it goes,
The math ain't mathin'.
this thing is pretty, and it's probably easily a dozen different flights for various people, but consistently this Jane Smith and John Doe popping up into this simple string of emails that's like, oh, this flight is this day, the return flight's this day, thanks for confirming, blah, 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 blah. What's going on with that? And it's the N908JE Lolita Express.
Interesting.
Maybe it was Todd Blanche, since he popped up in the
Oh my
fucking
god.
files.
We gotta do an episode about that because
Well, I'm only calling him
can't
Turd
tell you how
Blanche.
upset I am
Turd
about it.
Blanche. Not Todd, it's Turd.
Yeah. I mean, not to go off because it's almost been an hour, but not to go off on that tangent. But
Attorney
that
General.
it's just So he was approved as the Attorney General, which means that again our institutions have failed us.
And I will continue to say this until I turn blue in the face, but the elected officials, all of them, and we blame the Republicans, but all of them have had the opportunity to do the right thing several times over the last 10 years, and every single time they choose to do the opposite.
Yeah. And I have if I could talk to some of these folks that appear to be either extraordinarily complacent or compromised, and perhaps compromised is the way to go because some of them look like they're, when they speak in public, they're like filming a kidnapping video.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
You guys, whatever's going on, I know it's difficult and it seems unacceptable to have that information in public, but let me tell you, history is not going to be your friend. In 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it is going to come out. And then, not only will you be the person that was involved in whatever that is, you'll be the one that let that define you to do all these horrible things and confirm these horrible people and send your country down a path from whence it may not return.
Your kids' country.
Okay?
But you don't give a fuck about your kids, I know that.
So, I get it's bad. Maybe you feel like you're going to go to jail. Maybe you feel like your family will be so embarrassed they can't stand to be around you. I don't know. It's your business. But it's our business that you're selling out our country to keep it under wraps. Keep that in mind.
You nasty kid. Bang low. Sorry. Yes, no, you're right. Yeah. Lisa's giving you some conscience here, okay? Yeah, maybe don't diddle kids. That's what I'm going to end this episode with. Don't fucking diddle kids. That's it. Like, stop. That's it, right?
Trump just had a damn event at the White House with those girls, and he said those disgusting things about
He's disgusting.
Talked about them being beautiful girls and what. I mean, Lord, what have we allowed to happen? Seriously.
The worst people.
I know.
The worst people.
It's awful.
Letting their children go to that event. Sorry.
Yeah. The Patriot Games. Yeah.
Yes, I'm like, what is fucking wrong with you people? Yeah. Seriously.
It looked like Intro to Boot Camp. Okay, it did not look fun, okay? But they did get like a Stanley a little water bottle. I watched a little video about it. But okay, well, yeah. We could go on for hours, but yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do it on our app, okay?
There you go. Yeah. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you.
We'll see you over on the Circle app eventually.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.